Content warning. The stories and themes shared throughout this podcast may contain themes that can be distressing for you. If needed, please pause and do what you need to do to take care of yourself. If needed, please reach out to a mental health professional for support.
Welcome back to another episode of Resilient AF with Blair and Alana.
And Alana.
Alana. We wanted to get an episode to you last week, but I've been on a journey, which we'll talk about momentarily. But it's your griefy gals here, your sisters here, doing a little life check-in, a project check-in, update on what's been going on in our worlds. We know you love to listen to us chit and chat. And we have quite a robust update for you. So, Alana last time shared that she got a new pet,
A new Lenny.
a new, yeah, a new pet named Lenny. And so, Alana, how's that going? How's having a second cat going?
Well, it's definitely more than having one cat. Lenny has a very cute personality. He is very playful. So him and Molly are learning the ropes with each other because Molly isn't as playful. And so when Molly swats at Lenny, Lenny will stand on his two back feet and like kind of like move his front paws. Kind of looks like he's dancing because he wants to play. And Molly is not having any of it. Lenny sleeps on my head. So boundaries are still a work in progress, and it's getting warmer where I live in Winnipeg. And so Lenny is loving the porch.
Um, and I think it's funny because Lenny has a few different names, and Molly even has a name for him.
Oh yeah. Um, right when I got, or right before I went and got Lenny and brought him home, I thought, maybe I should check in with Molly and see if she's okay with this. So, as I do, I scroll TikTok and see all of these pet psychics. And I'm just enthralled. Like months ago, I had booked one that was booking out until October. So I do have one in October. But I found someone named Cynthia and I booked in with her. So we had a little chit chat, me, her, and Molly.
And it's on
Uh,
Zoom, right? Over
and it
Zoom.
was over Zoom. And so she needs to just see the pet first. Molly was not really being so cooperative before the Zoom. So I moved myself to my bedroom, sitting on the ground, showed Molly, then Molly wandered off. And so we learned a few things about Molly. We have learned that she identifies as Christian and likes Christmas. Um,
Note,
you
we're
know,
Jewish. We're
We're Jewish, so I feel like that's just her being passive aggressive because I always leave her on Christmas to visit Blair. I have learned that she refers to Lenny as Phil. Not sure why,
Phil.
but she calls him Phil. So, you know what? That's okay.
It's funny because I know a couple Phils and they're all redheads.
Really?
Yeah.
I think any Phil I've known has had lighter
Yeah.
head too. So maybe his name was Phil in another life
Yeah.
before it was Golden Dream Palace Milan.
Yeah.
But some really cool things happened, and I want to share one particular story. So we spoke for about 30 minutes. Unfortunately, the Zoom didn't, I tried recording it and she tried recording it. It didn't work. So I immediately recapped to Blair over a voice note. One of the things she said was that Molly is quite sassy and initially said, I have nothing to say, but my right ear hurts. I was like, oh, that's weird. She doesn't like show any signs of ear pain, but I know that cats hide pain well. And I was like, okay, well, I'm taking her to the vet anyway for a checkup next week because she's a lot of things going on. One of them being low blood platelet levels or thrombocytopenia. And so I take her to the vet the following week and doing a checkup, and my vet, she's asking Molly, not asking Molly, she's asking me how Molly's been. I was like, she's good. And just a weird question. I went and saw a pet psychic last week over Zoom, and she said that Molly's right ear hurts. Can you just humor me and check her right ear? And she's like, was this in person? I'm like, no, no, it was over Zoom. She saw Molly's face. And she's like, okay. So she takes the thing with the light and like looks into her left ear. Left ear is completely fine, nothing happening. She puts it in the right ear, and Molly like moves her body like she's in a little bit of pain. And my vet's like, oh, well, that is very interesting. So then she takes a cotton swab, like a Q-tip type of thing, does it again. Left ear, nothing. Right ear, same thing. She did it one more time. She's like, maybe it's a bit inflamed, but that is wild. And so she went and told everyone backstage, I wanted to say, behind the room, wherever the techs are, and told them about it. And they were all quite amused and amazed by it. And Molly's a high roller, high flyer there.
High
She's on
roller. You're the high roller funding it.
high roller. This should be sponsored by Trupanion. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, so that was a very fascinating experience. And I was at the vet a couple weeks later.
You're at the vet at least once a
I'm
week.
always at the vet. Literally was at the vet
Or
last
the
week.
ER. Like you're
Yeah. I'm always getting something checked out. Molly literally was at the vet 3 days ago because Lenny scratched her third eye. Um,
her third eye.
Sorry, her third eyelid.
Oh, oh,
It was treated as pink eye.
oh,
Uh,
Lana.
but when I went back for the checkup, like 2 weeks after, um, the vet, her name is Dr. Dorval, was just saying how she was telling everyone about this cat psychic experience.
Yeah, that's funny. I love that. And oh, Lenny, like he, Len, Goo, Phil.
Goo.
And I love that you have like a legacy pet named after one of our parents because the first one that was named after our mom, Frey, died. Yeah.
Just
And
like our mom went
yeah,
fast.
yeah, so Frey was like my soul cat. And he helped me heal in ways that nothing else was helping me heal. And I loved him. And I literally would look at him every day and be like, I love you so much. You've saved my life. Like, you have to live forever. Anyways, he didn't live forever. And at 2.5 years old, I came home from emceeing an event and he was panting and in medical distress and his back legs were paralyzed. And I rushed him to a vet on Saturday night. It was a Saturday night. And essentially, he had a blood clot. And then the only solution was to put him down. So it was very traumatizing because all our other cats have lived to be like 18, like Duffy's 14, Molly's 14, like all our cats like live long. So it was completely unexpected, and the cat's not a full grown cat till they're 4. It was just literally, honestly, like the pain was so bad. It was like worse when dad died. And it was like re-grieving mom. And it opened up a bunch of old grief, but also it was just very like my heart just absolutely shattered. And so like that's just kind of where I'll leave that. And I did a lot of learning because I bought Frey, like was a rag doll, and I bought him from the Kijiji, and I didn't really know much about buying cats from breeders, and I didn't know that you could be registered as a breeder because all my other cats are like from barns or rescues. And so certain cats like ragdolls, they are more susceptible to certain diseases, and Frey had that, where breeders actually are supposed to test for it. And so if a cat has that, like they wouldn't have sold it to me. And so it's been a learning curve. Honestly, like not the way I wanted to learn these lessons. So of course, I have so much love to give, and we'll soon have one or maybe two or even three new kittens in our life because I've been talking to many breeders and they're all getting back to me. Don't tell Shane. He probably doesn't even listen to this podcast, so it's okay.
Probably not.
But and I'll keep you updated, but I don't feel like it's me replacing Frey, but like I have so much love to give. I work from home. I just like and I have Duffy, and Duffy's great, but Duffy's also like sh it's our cat, but it's Shane's cat. And so it feels like my heart's definitely missing something. And so now I know that the questions to ask the breeders, and I know what to look for. And it's definitely like an unfortunate learning experience and a really terrible way to put a pet down. It was very, very traumatic. Like Shane, luckily both Shane and I were in town because we're both travel a lot and for work. And but his phone broke because he like changed his storage settings and he didn't know that his phone would break from doing that. Like he basically had to reinstall some storage, but he couldn't receive calls. And so when it happened, I was alone and he was out and I couldn't get a hold of him or any of his friends. And I was like panicking and like speeding to the 24-hour vet and like crying. And it was like pouring rain on the highway. And eventually I called his friends over and over again frantically. And someone eventually answered and like they got Shane into the car and like drove him to me. But it was just like so many layers of traumatizing. Um,
Hmm.
but so if you have gone through pet loss or if you're in it, like I'm sorry, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. But there's no but. And what was really interesting was a few weeks later, I was about to head to Bali.
Before we get to Bali, like I feel like we should take a moment just to honor pet grief. I think it's not talked about the way that losing a human is. And Blair said something like that she was sadder than when our dad died, and people might listen to that and have a reaction, and that's okay. You're allowed to have a reaction, but the reality is like these pets were with them almost 24/7.
Oh, it was unconditional. Like I got more
Yeah.
love from that cat in 2.5 years than dad our entire life. And
Yeah.
the pets just generally like mostly they should. I mean, I shouldn't say all pets, but for sure
Pets
cats.
treated well
Yeah, like
and
I was just like,
temperament.
this unconditional love, this shadow, like this the first thing I saw in the morning, the last thing I saw at night, like, you know, it can be more painful to grieve a pet than a human.
Hmm. And
And
that's okay.
and that's okay. I told one of our family members, I went home to Winnipeg for Passover and I told one of our family members that I like was more sad about Frey dying than dad dying. Like it just hurt more. And they're like, "Oh, don't say that." I'm like, "But that's how I feel."
Hmm. Yeah. You know, I think if someone is saying something from their heart and they're grieving, instead of responding with, don't say that, even if you might feel that, because your feelings are valid too, just say, oh, I'm sorry, that sounds hard.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
it. That's all you need to say.
Sidebar on the grief death talks. Today, time of recording, it's Sunday. It's actually bereaved Mother's Day.
Mhm. What do you do? Because obviously
I'm
you
like a
don't say
bereaved fur
happy,
mom. I'm a bereaved
like,
fetus mom.
but you don't say like happy bereaved Mother's Day because it's not a
No,
happy
no,
day.
it's just a day to honor those who've lost children.
Yeah.
And like, Mother's Day is coming up, and that's a really hard one for me because our mom is gone and my baby's gone. And it's just a very complicated day for me because like I wanted to be a mom and I wanted to be a mom with mom.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I'm a motherless daughter and a daughterless mother and yeah, so I'm gonna be in the forest next. But anyways, yeah, and like just like I'm starting to get inundated with all these Mother's Day ads.
Oh, the worst. And then it's like they people do it from the kindness of their hearts where they sometimes some I was going to say people, but yeah, people from companies will send out an email being like, let us know if you don't want to know about like Mother's Day, which is like nice, but that's only covering the email. If you follow them on social, if you like, you see them on Instagram, TikTok, whatnot, like it's still inundated, inundated, inundated. And then just as much as that's inundated, it's also the like, oh, and like let's honor like those. Social media is a mess on
So I
Mother's
actually
Day.
tell people like um if you're not in a good place, like cut out those things that trigger you. So maybe it's watching the news, maybe it's social media, maybe it's muting or unfollowing those accounts, or even just like
Yeah.
reducing your social media usage, which is like okay.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
okay
So
because
I
you,
often say that to people too, like especially on Mother's Day, Father's Day, the day where people are boasting about their parents, which sure they
or their
can,
partner's like,
or
Blair
their
is such
partners.
a great mom. That's what I would imagine that. Well, my husband doesn't even post on social media, so so no one would be writing that about me, but it would be true. I would be a great mom.
Yeah.
But anyways, yes, pet grief is valid. They are also like if you feel like your pets are your children, it's because they are. Like they're your fur
Hmm.
children. And like, every situation is different. And whether you had the pet for 2 years or 20 years, like your sadness is valid. And I invite you to talk about it to anyone who will listen. You don't have to keep it in.
And if you work in a workplace, hopefully you're allowed to take a bereavement day.
I canceled all my meetings for three
Yeah.
days. I didn't show up to something where I was supposed to like host a 200-person event. I mean, like I let them know I wasn't coming. I rearranged my schedule. I was just too sad to function.
Yeah.
And like in the beginning, I felt like I just started having a personal issue, and then I realized no, I can actually share exactly what happened. Because first it was they're gonna think I'm stupid canceling 3 days worth of things because my pet died, and I was like, no, actually, I'm gonna stand in my power with that. And if they think it's stupid, that's not my problem; it's their problem.
Yeah, mom stood in her power when Blackie, my rabbit, died and took a day off work.
Yeah.
So you can cancel those meetings.
Yeah, you can. And so, right after that, something that had been planned for a while was I was co-facilitating a grief trip in Bali. And that was such a beautiful experience. And I think maybe if a future episode, maybe we'll have Rachel on, who is the person who organizes this from Happy Grieving and Grief Trips, and we can really
Hmm.
dive in. But it was better than I could have imagined. It was just so beautiful, and the healing rituals we did, and the workshops, and the writing, and the bonds we all created. And it was really interesting because a lot of the common themes were like when people had these losses, they didn't give themselves time or space to grieve, and they felt really alone because their community, like their group of friends, coworkers, couldn't relate. Like they didn't understand the pain that they have. And so to bring, ages 23 to 61 all together in Bali from all over the world, we had Hong Kong, US, Canada, and the UK. It was really, really special and beautiful. And it was my first time co-facilitating a 7-day event like that. And in November, Rachel and I are going to be doing a 2-week grief trip in Australia. But it was just perfect timing for me because I found a lot of healing in that honoring Frey because I am fairly like in my healing the work I've done on my grief for mom and dad and Dave and the baby. Like I've done a lot of work and I will always be working on it. But the Frey loss was so fucking fresh.
Hmm.
And so I thought it was just really, really beautiful to be there and also to have the people there hold space because I'm a griever too. Rachel's a griever too. And yeah, I don't know. And it also just showed me that like there's no right or wrong way to grieve and that society still isn't set up to support us in our bereavement. And
Hmm.
it's too bad that we can't just have these experiences when we need them at that time of loss. And instead of holding it in for a year, 2 years, 4 years till you find the perfect place to grieve, what if we just were given that society were, to just give us that right after?
Yeah. I'm wondering, like, if you can tell us a little bit about your favorite grief ritual that you engaged in on the trip.
It's not a grief ritual, it's actually a life ritual.
Oh, okay.
And it's my gratitude alarm, actually.
Mm.
So the very first day, or the second day, the first full day, we went over the Navigating Grief framework, which is a framework I created, which is like a checklist on moving forward in your grief, the things that I wish I would have known as a high performer. And I got a lot of positive feedback on that. But one of them is a gratitude practice. And we all know that I love my gratitude. Every day, 9 p.m., my gratitude alarm goes off. We list 3 things we're grateful for from the past 24 hours. And if you do this for at least 21 days in a row, your brain starts to rewire to see the world in a more positive way. And I've been doing this since 2016, so for 9 years. And like mom did it, like the last few words she ever spoke alive was her gratitude. Dad, we did it the day dad died. Like Shane, when he was in
Hmm.
the hospital, we did it every day for 3 weeks with, his 70-something-year-old roommate and his parents, Shane's parents and me. So, and I talked about this, my alarm would go off at 9 p.m. And if I didn't have my phone with me, um, someone in the group would be like, it's 9 o'clock. And we would actually all stop what we're doing. And it wouldn't even be me instigating it. Whoever I was with would instigate it. And so every day, so sometimes we would be in a car and there'd be four of us. And we'd get our
Hmm.
driver, our Balinese driver who didn't speak English. I'd use Google Translate and we would do it with him too. Sometimes we were at a dinner and it was all, 14 of us and we'd all go around. And not only is like something, so every night we practice gratitude in whatever capacity, but the last day we went around sharing like what we're going to take moving forward, like what's something that we're going to start implementing in our life to
Yeah.
start. And almost everyone expressed interest in the gratitude alarm as one of the things. And so the grief retreat was over last week, and now everyone's back in their time zones. Every single day, the WhatsApp chat is blowing up with the gratitudes at their 9 p.m.
So they're still sharing it
Oh
in the
yeah, they're
WhatsApp.
sharing it. They've set alarms. I get screenshots where it says gratitude alarm. Everyone lists it. And like I got goosebumps telling you this just now. So
That's
to
really
me,
sweet.
like that is one of my most like this, Alana. Like this is like one
Yeah.
of my most like cherished tools.
Yeah.
Even like speaking, I was speaking at a college the other day and to hundreds of staff. And we did a gratitude practice where everyone partnered up and they did the gratitude practice. Because a lot of people don't even take the time to think about what they're grateful for. So that has been something that has been really impactful to watch them and to even be like, so I was working like with someone like they needed some
Hmm.
space held for them. So I left the room and my phone was in the room with everyone else and the alarm went off. And so I came in
Wow.
and one of the girls was like, "Oh, your gratitude alarm went off. We shut it for you." I'm like, "Okay." They're like, "So let's do gratitude?" I'm like, "Okay, let's do gratitude."
Wow. So
So
you really instilled that practice in everyone, and it sounds like it's continuing. And it's also a nice way for all of you to stay connected.
yeah, and I think like I got a lot of really great feedback on that trip. And something consistent was from the younger, like get the age range, right? The younger girls were
Hmm.
like, who some people are just the grief is very fresh, like they're still in the first year. And I remember in that I felt so hopeless and like I could never be happy again. And the feedback I was getting was, wow, you've been through so much loss and it like you can laugh again. Like you make jokes, like you're traveling, like look at the work you're doing. And you just give me hope that I can feel normal again
Mm,
or I
that's
can
really
feel
nice.
happy again.
Yeah.
It was really beautiful. And like we got to do really cool things. Like we went to a temple and we did a water ceremony. We went scuba diving. I've never been scuba diving. It was the most peaceful I've ever felt in my entire life. So when Alana and I go on our next grief trip, I'm gonna maybe go scuba diving with you. It was amazing.
I would love
Not
to.
scuba diving, I lied, snorkeling. And
Snorkeling.
then, but like I saw manta rays that were like bigger than like they're like as big as school buses. And like I was like, I am an actual mermaid and this is amazing. And I got super sunburnt. And so that was great. But like we had experiences where we were like peaceful at nature, walking through rice fields. We hiked to a waterfall. We did different, workshops and exercises, and we did a Balinese fire ceremony and went, had different culinary experiences, a cooking class. It was really cool. And so I'm excited to see the future grief trips. Everyone's going to be different. Every group brings a different dynamic.
Hmm.
And I felt like I was standing in like right where I was meant to be. Like, here I am doing the work I love and the best way I love it, which is traveling.
Yeah. What I really appreciate from what you just shared is how you had your your own tools and whatnot, and Rachel did as well. And you also incorporated the cultural experience of where you're at and seeing how different rituals in different places are done. And I think that's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. So, and then, I did pretty good at not getting like traveler's tummy. When I got back, I
Mhm.
definitely did, but that's okay.
It's
That's
easier
okay.
when you're close to, well, you
Yeah.
weren't home, but
But yeah, that's kind of what's going on. And, our books are still filling up and people are really excited about it. People, lots of inquiries about how to be in the book. And we're working on some other projects that when it's time, we'll share what we're doing. It's all very exciting
it
um,
is.
stuff. So that's like a high level update. Like Lenny, also is known as Phil. Molly had a
Hmm.
sore ear that the psychic detected. Frey died. I led a grief retreat, a grief trip. I have another one
Sure.
coming up in November in Australia. There's about 50% sold out. If you want to join me and Rachel, I'll put the link in the show notes.
Hmm.
And there anything else that we need to update on?
I mean, there's always like every time we record together, it's like, oh, Alana had another endo flare. Or
Well, that's like a weekly thing for you.
that is, yeah. Remember my story about the sky train from a few episodes ago? We'll take that, but put it in a Pilates studio
Yeah, Lana like barfed in the Pilates studio.
and outside the
So what are you
Pilates
gonna
studio.
buy? What we were texting, Alana, what is the thing you're gonna buy?
Oh, the emesis bags?
Yeah, Alana's gonna buy purse-sized barf bags because like she
Yeah.
keeps having these barfs in public.
And like you don't understand, like there's no control. It's like I feel it coming. And I yesterday had to hold it in until I could get outside. And then the woman working was so lovely and helped me get a bag and all of that. But yeah, there are these emesis bags. They're coming tomorrow. They're travel size and they like stack. They basically look like Molly's and Lenny's
Diaper
like
Genie,
yeah, like the litter locker vibes.
that's funny. Well, yeah, and I don't know health-wise, I don't I'm in good health
Great
for now,
for now, which is great,
which is great. And
honestly.
so that's it on the Kaplan sister front. Griefy gals, griefing around the world. We have a lot of great interviews coming up for you in the next couple weeks. Alana and I will pop back in a few weeks. I'm sure there's going to be another very exciting update
Oh, I'm
because there
sure
always
there will
is.
be. Yeah.
There always is. And yeah, I think, do we have anything else we want to share?
Um, where are you headed as this releases?
Oh, I'll be in Toronto. I am speaking, I am moderating a panel on resilience and giving the closing bold talks of the closing keynote, which I'll be sharing the story of the Global Resilience Project. I think I think that's what they want me to do. I mean, that's what I'm going to do, whether they want me to or not. But I'm going to talk about our journey on how we created this, but also what we did PR wise, and because we do our launches very strategically with
Yeah.
billboards and Oscars and Emmys gifting lounges and strategic partnerships. So I'm really excited to be able to share our community and our growth and our goals to 100 plus women in Toronto at a PR conference. And so when you listen to this, I might be sleeping or Torontoing. I'm gonna meet up with some family and some friends, and then I'm
Mm,
back. It's a hot minute trip, which I'm excited because next weekend I'm gonna just like, or I guess the weekend coming up, I'm gonna just be in the forest for Mother's Day. I'm just gonna hide in the woods.
that's lovely. And I will hopefully have hit my 250 Pilates class.
What's the present you get for that? More toe socks?
I think a tank top, actually.
Ooh! But they might deduct you for barfing in their studio.
Well, I didn't make a mess in the studio.
Did you lose the like you know how like you get penalties if you
I
register and you
no,
don't go, you get penalties?
no, they just left me in the class. They
Yeah.
just like they
They're
were
like
like,
you're barfing.
You
Lana,
tried." It
you
was like you
also
tried.
you also like go to like 3 classes a day.
I sometimes two, but mostly one. But yeah, I go almost every day.
So like it's okay because like you showed up barfing. You're like, I'm here, don't ding
I
me.
tried. I tried. I gave it a good effort and I said to the instructor, I really wanted to be inside the room right now. But instead, I'm waiting for this wave to pass so I can drive the 4 minutes home.
Oh my God, who's excited for Lana to have her endo surgery? Me.
Me.
I'm really excited also, one more thing. So um I there's this music festival called Bass Coast that I love. It's like an art and music festival, kind of like a mini Burning Man in Alana. That's not really her scene. And it's not really my scene anymore either, but I love it. It's just like such a great festival and I have so much fun. And so this year I'm kicking off my 40th birthday shenanigans there with the theme Lordy's still raving at 40 and I'm making Alana come. But so finally bought her plane tickets. But
Uh-huh.
she's just like, I'm on the list for cancellation surgery. I'm like, you better get tickets just that you can cancel. But
Yeah.
so Alana's either going to rave with me or be recovering from endo
Or be
surgery,
recovering.
which will
Just,
you'll just be on
but you know
different.
what? I'll have my emesis bags with me. So
At least you
if
won't be
they
the only
last.
one barfing.
Yeah, just for different reasons.
Yeah, it won't be me though. I don't barf, and I'm sober. So,
Yeah.
anyways, Lordy's still raving at 40, but I'm really looking forward to you getting your endo surgery because like it's crazy how often you are having these situations, and it's always while you're in public. Actually, though, last time you were at home.
The last two, well, January and March, I was at home.
Mhm. So on that note,
Sponsored by Ondansetron.
but not really because you have to pay for it.
Yeah, just kidding. It's actually quite expensive.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Resilient AF with Blair and Alana. If you suffer from endometriosis, or you have a funny barf story, I don't know, let Alana know. Let Alana know. Let me know. I don't
Giggle
know.
with me.
But let us be that lighthouse in the storm. Like it is okay to not be okay. Life is full of fucking really shitty moments, but also
Mhm.
beautiful moments and everything in between. And you will get through it. Put one foot in front of the other. Let us be there with you. And remember, you are resilient AF. Bye.
Bye.
That's a wrap for another episode of Resilient AF with Blair and Alana. And thank you for listening. Are you feeling inspired to bounce forward?
Let's connect at theglobalresilienceproject.com, where you can read many stories of resilience, buy our books, shop our clothing line, learn more about how to strengthen your resilience muscle, be empowered, and more.
Remember, friends, you are resilient AF.